Welcome everybody, thank you. We are here, just finished up a fun day riding with the folks from Specialized, checking out the new Mullet 150, 160 millimeter Levo.
Yeah, my name is Alan Cook. Doing marketing and PR over at Specialized for a little over a year now, and pretty stoked on this new bike for sure.
I'm Joe Buckley. I'm a product manager for Levo and our other e-bikes at Specialized, e-mount bikes.
All right, so Joe, we're obviously here riding the Pro model today. What bikes are you launching with?
So we'll go live with that Pro model that we rode here today, and then also the S-Works model, which is of course our top tier model.
So besides spec component changes, motor, battery, everything else is going to be same between S-Works and Pro?
Correct, yep. The frames will be the same, the E-system is the same, and then it's a matter of component changes between the two.
There are some pretty impressive changes when it comes to, I guess, the display screen, any other software or, I guess, app changes that are going to be relevant on the new bikes?
There's a whole list of them. I probably can't rattle them all off the top of my head, but some of the bigger ones is, like you mentioned, the TCU control there. So the display is a huge upgrade. One of the complaints that we get a lot from riders is that it's hard to tell the battery state of charge. Mm-hmm. So you can count 10 bars, but it's not so easy to do while you're riding, so you never know exactly where you're at. So we wanted a display that was more comprehensive and gave a number. And while we were doing something that could display numbers and text, we might as well add features that can convey all kinds of information. So there's a whole bunch of things that you can display or choose not to if you want to keep it simple. Along with that, we have a cool feature that's in there as well called MicroTune. So since we've done Levos, we've had the ability in the Mission Control app to infinitely tune 3 modes, which are Eco, Trail, and Turbo. And then the tricky part about that is if you're just riding by yourself or other people that are on the same bike, it's really easy to stay together. But if you had to adjust for some reason, you got to pull your phone out and do that kind of thing. So in order to make it easier to adjust on the fly, we have MicroTune now, and you can adjust. Basically what it does is matches the peak power and the support levels, and that allows you to go from 0 to 100% in 10% increment.
And that's something that you can adjust in every power mode, or that's just a manual, I can do 10% to 100%?
It's a manual 10% to 100%. Yeah.
Okay. So it's not like you can go to Eco or Turbo and control each tune micro in there?
Nope, you hold the plus button down for 2 seconds and you enter MicroTune mode.
Okay.
And then you go.
And then that's your manual assist,
exactly,
basically.
Yeah.
Okay, that's really cool. When you guys, I guess, looked at the previous Levo and we're working on this, what were main goals that were like, we have to do this better, we have to change that, we want to evolve this way?
The biggest one is always to try and make it ride like a traditional bike, right? Like try to make it more playful, more responsive, and that's kind of where, the previous Levo was good for its time, but I think it left something to be desired. So updating geos, making it adjustable so you can tune into different kind of riding conditions, that kind of stuff was what we were after.
And you were saying down in the parking lot that this is a little heavier than the last Levo, but you guys did that for stiffness and some other reasons, right?
Actually, it's kind of a byproduct of the adjustability of the bike. So in updating the geos, the bike gets longer, right? So you have a little bit more frame material. The features that allow the rider to adjust the geo, so your different headset cups and the horse pivot adjust, add a few grams here and there. So the frame gets a little bit heavier, and then more capable component specs. So like bigger rotors on the brakes, 38 fork that we didn't have before, it was 36, and then a resi shock on the back, a little bit heavier shock. So that's actually one of the things we wanted to do too. The old bike, you can put a resi shock on it, but you can't run a water bottle at the same time. So that was something we wanted to spend some time fixing too.
So what I can show you here is a little bit of what the geo adjust is. So for the head tube, You can see this aluminum cup here, it's set in the nominal position. So you can see the headset is it's in the center of the head tube. But what comes with every bike is this +1 and +- cup. So the bearing just sits in there and this just sits in the frame. There's no special tools or anything needed. Take your front end off, take this cup out, and you can put it in that way and it'll give you -1 degree, and go in that way and it'll give you +1 degree. So it's super intuitive, super easy to do. Nominal 64.5, you can go a degree steeper and a degree more slack from that, just with this one little piece. And then in the back here, we have a flip chip on the horse pivot. So that's gonna be where your bottom bracket adjust is, and it also adjusts your rear end. So rear end about 7 millimeters longer or shorter, bottom bracket about 7 millimeters lower or higher, but also it changes the head tube angle about 1/2 degree. So when you add in the 3 full degrees that you can do with this, and the 1/2 degree with that, now you have about 6 different head tube angles to adjust with. And once, if you're someone that has a very specific feel of what you want that bike to be, you're gonna be able to hone in on it no matter what terrain you're in, just with these couple little adjustments.
Obviously, you guys just came out with the new Stumpy Evo, and it's a crowd-pleasing bike, right? What were the goals with this bike from a performance and mountain bike perspective?
You look at the geo and the kinematics and stuff, and it does match up very, very close to what Stumpy Evo is. But the thing that is the closest is the design process, Like looking into the, rider is the boss. That's something that goes into everything that we make. And it's that same process that brought the Stumpjumper Evo to the level it's at. And that same process was put right in. And it's almost like, not maybe total coincidence that the geo and the kinematics end up the same, but it's that process of, building that bike for not just one rider or a bike that can be ridden in one place, but a bike that's going to be the perfect bike for every rider, no matter where he takes it or where his local riding spot is. And that's what's really brought these two bikes so close together. I mean, they're just trail bikes, right? One's got a motor, one doesn't. Like, some of those kids' toys, how you can change the bike as you get better at riding. It's the same thing, as people increase their riding ability and maybe they start out as a beginner and then they accelerate to intermediate and expert, they're gonna wanna ride different trails, and then they're gonna need a bike that's gonna ride well on those trails. So it kind of gives you a starting point and a place to go from that spot without having to get a new bike.
So far, I mean, first impressions on this day have been pretty awesome. Like, the bike rides quite well. I know I was asking some questions about volume reducers and fork and shock, but I mean, the bike rides, like you said, a lot like a mountain bike, and it is fun and it plays around and it moves. But who do you think the ideal consumer or the ideal rider is going to be on this type of bike?
Well, this bike's always been kind of our do-it-all trail bike.
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, we've seen people use it all kinds of different ways, but it's, at its heart, it is the do-it-all trail bike. So, like, basically trying to cover everything from, like you were saying, groomed flow trail style riding all the way to rowdy and a little bit more aggressive riding, if you want to set it up like that and take on those trails and have those kind of skills.
Yeah. That's it, folks. We're going to go find a local wash and get some dinner, and I think head home, right? After another day of testing out the new Specialized Levo. So thanks again, and appreciate you guys watching. We'll see you out on the trails.